In terms of very basic instruction on drawing an influence diagram, there's no fixed way of doing this. But what we find is that the influence diagrams can be the most clear, the most transparent if you treat it the way that people read, making sure that things start on the upper left and move towards the right and downwards. That tends to be easiest to understand. One way to think about it is sticking your decisions on the left of the diagram. Here are the things that we have control over. Here's the things that we're using this model to help us decide which decision is best. We have our objective. What are we trying to minimize or maximize? Am I trying to maximize health? Am I trying to minimize cost? We'd put those objectives all the way on the right, and then all the intermediate steps would go in between. In reality, what you find happening is these very big, complex models have lots of different components, and you could never show all of these connections and little intermediate calculations on one screen. If you did, it would just be a jumble of lines and objects and nobody could make sense out of it. These intermediate calculations might be little submodules, things like calculating the revenues or sales. We could show this particular diagram as having our decisions on the left, a bunch of key routines or submodules in the middle, and then our key takeaway or objectives on the right. How to tidy up a diagram. The flow of the calculations should go from left to right. I want all my input data, all of these orange constant nodes in a vertical column. We start bringing some things over here so that we now have something that looks very much like all input data is on the left, all intermediate calculations are in the center, and then our objective, we can drag a box around them. Click and drag your cursor till you select everything. And with all of those orange constant nodes selected, you could click on the diagram menu up at the top. I'm going to click on diagram. And again, we get back to this align option. Maybe I want to align all the left edges. You'll notice that everything just moved to the right. The reason for that is, of all of these orange constant nodes, the last one that I selected was the depreciation rate, and it has the dark black squares around it. Those black squares tell me which variable is going to be treated as my point of reference. When I clicked on align left edges, it was saying align left edges with this reference variable, which was the depreciation rate, because it was the last thing selected. So that's why everything moved to the right. The other thing that we could do with all of these things still selected is I could go to my diagram menu and space evenly. We'll space evenly going downwards. I'll click on that. And now all these things just got spaced evenly. Those are just a couple examples of how you can tidy up a diagram. For some of these other variables, I might want to manually move them around till I like the way it looks. I want a straight arrow coming out of one of these things, and that one, let's see, you could do something like that. It's stylistic. There's no right or wrong answer to how the diagram should look. You're striving for clarity.